Hello and welcome, everybody. Today we're going to have a discussion about God's will for your life, but not just a general will for your life. What does God specifically want for you? So, if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, so to start off, we know that the plans of God is to prosper us and not to harm us, to have a good future. So, that is a general will of God, and we can read a lot in Scripture about what God's will is for our life. We can also pray the Our Father prayer. That also gives you general guidelines. But why would God want a specific will for you? And let's have a look for the Israelites. What was God's will for them? Yes, it was to prosper them. It was to give them an inheritance because God made a promise to Abraham and he says, "This land I will give to you and your people." So they were taken away. First, they were preserved from the famine, and then they became slaves in Egypt. Then they wandered in the wilderness before they inherited the promises that God has given them. So it is all good and well, but they brought massive delay because of disobedience. And that's a very important thing in our lives. Remember, Saul lost the kingdom because of disobedience. And so many times people don't want to hear what is God's direct will for them for their lives because they're afraid. They think they're going to have to sacrifice too much. They're not going to be able to fulfill it. Well, that's the thing. God has created you for a purpose on this world. If He's given you a blueprint, but everything that you need, He will supply for you as well. When you say, "Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to step up. I'm going to fulfill the calling of my life." And it's not the same for everybody. A lot of time people think, well, everybody has to become a pastor. Everybody has to become a missionary. That is not the case. God has got a specific will for everybody, and if everybody were missionaries, then there would have been nobody to serve. But to get back to God's will for your life, that's a thing that you need to pray and you need to ask the Lord, what is the will for your life? And then you need to be obedient to follow the instructions. Now, what helps tremendously is to have a covenant with the Lord where you can make a covenant and say, "Okay, Lord, this is what you want me to do. This is what I'm going to need. This is what I want from you as well." And then you will see it is a lot easier to fulfill the calling on your life if you're obedient. Where other people lose it, and I've seen people that had covenants with the Lord and they kept their covenant. It went good and very well. The covenant worked, but they lost the plot somewhere. Even though they keep the basic conditions of the covenant, it doesn't help that you fall into a lot of other different things that is not God's will for your life and for His kingdom. You see, God will send you warning when that happens, but you need to listen and obey. That is Shema in the Old Testament, meaning don't just hear what God says, but also do what He says. And there's a big key for you. If you want to be successful, if you want to be sustainable in God's kingdom, you need to listen and obey. So, step one, pray and ask the Lord for your blueprint. Step two, make a covenant. Step three, be obedient and listen for the warnings. Yes, we make mistakes. Sometimes we do not keep our covenants 100%. Then you pray and you ask, "Lord, please forgive me. Help me so that I don't do it again." Or help me. What is the strategy for me not to fail again? And making a covenant with the Lord is not a thing of life and death. For instance, me making these videos is part of my covenant that I have with the Lord, that I'll make a video for a period of time every day. So the days that I'm not on Heaven's Remnant, I'm on Unity with Heaven, giving prophetic words as well there. So if you want, there's a clue where you can get prophetic ministry as well. So to get back to the covenant is there's a framework, and the best way that I know is write your covenant, your part, God's part, pray about it, and then make a public declaration, at least for your family, and say, this is the covenant that I've got with the Lord. And you can see Abraham did not have a covenant every year with the Lord, but even though it was seasonal, some of the things. So don't force yourself too much. Pray and ask the Lord to help you, and you'll see. Sometimes He wants you to request more of Him as well. So definitely, it's a good thing. Open your ears and pray, and then fulfill the calling upon your life. And it is such a nice feeling when you feel, now I'm doing something. I've got purpose. A lot of people perish because they don't have purpose. They don't see the vision. They don't follow through, and they think they are basically worthless and useless. And that is not the case. God has got a destiny for everybody, and it is good. So therefore, pray. Ask the Lord. I challenge you so that you can fulfill the calling that God has got for your life. Father, I pray for everybody watching today that we'll have a covenant with you, that you will use us, and that you will give your will for our lives to us so that we can fulfill and live it according to your will and your ways. Father, I pray that you will give us the instructions, help us, lead us, so that we will focus on what you say. Thank you for your great love and your mercy. And I thank you for that in Jesus' mighty name. I pray, Father, that you will bless all of our friends watching, and that they will be encouraged to stay focused on you. I thank you for that in Jesus' mighty name. Be blessed.